Hello, Vancouver. I'm Temple Lentz, and we're here for another episode of Hello History with Pat Gelada.
Hello, History.
And we are filming this episode in the month of April, which is when Arbor Day falls and Earth Day. So it made all the sense in the world to us to do an episode about Vancouver's historic trees. Because it turns out there's a lot of them.
There are a lot of we are a Tree City, USA.
So we are a Tree City, USA. That's a formal designation.
Yes, by the National Arbor Day Foundation.
So what does that mean?
That means that, well, number one, we care for our trees, that we have an arborist, that we have passed ordinances to protect trees, that we have a recognition of our trees.
Oh, that's great. And that's a status?
We have a lot of trees.
We do. And this Tree City, USA is a status that's renewed every year?
Yes.
Okay.
And we first got it in 1989. We've gotten it every year since.
Yes. And so we are in front of one of, if not the oldest
apple tree in the state of Washington.
In the state of Washington, the old apple tree. Yes. Which, as you can hear, we are right next to Highway 14, which was not here when this apple tree was planted.
No, in 1825. However, they moved the freeway to miss the tree.
Oh.
The original plan for the freeway went right through here. And the city, as one, rose up, and they moved the freeway over. Not that far, but far enough to save the tree.
That's fantastic.
It's wonderful. Because we think of Washington apples.
Right.
And they're not a native tree. And
so
this was the first one.
This was the first apple tree in Washington State, and it was planted from a seed.
Yes. It was a love story. A young Lieutenant Williamson was at a dinner in England before he was due to be posted here, and dessert was an apple, and his sweetheart handed him the core from her apple. And nod on it, but no, I'm sure it was nicely cut. And said, when you get to your home in the wilderness, plant these and perhaps you'll remember me.
Oh.
And he didn't put the coat on, he put them in his pocket. Didn't put the coat on again for a year. Put it on, found the core, asked Dr. John McLaughlin if he could plant them, and the doctor was delighted. And they started them under glass. And then put them out into an orchard. There were 6 of them. And this is nowhere near the orchard that the fort had, so this was just a separate
little plot with a few.
With the little apple trees. And they were cut down in the 30s, except this one had a nest in it with nestlings.
And that's why it wasn't cut down?
Yes, the soldiers asked if they could put off cutting the tree down until the birds fledged. And they were allowed to, and then of course the Army went on to other things.
Right.
Where across the street from the original point of origin of the city, which is the witness tree.
So where was the witness tree?
The witness tree was at the foot of Main Street, where Main Street met the river, and that today would be in the parking lot of Joe's Crab Shack. But it was a cottonwood tree called the Balm of Gilead. And the first settler made his mark on that tree as the start of his land claim.
Okay.
And it started there, went all the way up to Fourth Plain, all the way over. And that's the land claim that Amos and Esther Short would later jump. So they started their land claim from that very tree.
Right.
When the Army surveyed to lay out the military reservation, they started at that tree. And so it was the witness tree. It was where all of the property lines started.
Oh, wow.
Was at that point. And, trees. There are so many stories of trees. The UN tree.
Right, where was that?
That still is.
Oh, okay.
It stands at the corner of Fourth Plain and Main Street.
Okay.
Where Vancouver High School used to be.
Right, and now it's the Housing Authority.
Now it's the Housing Authority. And the day that the United Nations met for the first time in San Francisco, June 6, 1945, the students there planted an oak tree to commemorate it and called it the Peace Oak.
Wonderful.
So as when they took the school down, when Vancouver Housing Authority built their building there, you'll notice the corner of that building is truncated.
Yes.
That's so that it wouldn't encroach on the root system of the UN tree. We do care for our trees a lot. We move freeways for them, we change buildings for them.
That's
and we
great.
keep the trees. If you have an old tree that you think is
Yeah.
worth preserving, you can call the city of Vancouver, the arborist, and they can nominate it as a heritage tree. And there are just wonderful trees around the city from the east side to the west side that have been preserved on that list. Or you can Google heritage trees in Vancouver.
Heritage trees in Vancouver and find out about them. It really is, it's a part of the quality of life here that you don't think about until you think about it, like we were saying earlier.
That's right.
So thank you, Pat. This has been wonderful.
That's right. Thank you.
We'll see you next time.